Hello, this is Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and behind me is Gracie. She's my one of my best friends in the world, if you can see her. We are here today on this Friday, the 11th, I think it is, and we're talking today. Well, here's what showed up this week for me, and that's what these Friday feasts are about. Is what showed up in my week that is a theme that follows me through, whether it's in my or with my clients or writing or podcasts. What's the theme that keeps showing up? Well, last Friday evening, I had a client, had a couples coaching session with some new clients. And the intention of their work with me, they want to deepen their relationship. They've been together for 3 years, and they would like it to be deeper. They love each other very much. They're best friends. They respect each other. They have a great time, and they want to go the next step in terms of intimacy. And that intimacy is sexual, physical intimacy, but also emotional intimacy. So I was speaking with, and I always change names of the people I talk about. So I'm going to call her Cara. So Cara is they're both in their mid-40s, and I go, so what's sort of in the way of right now in you going deeper with Charles? Just make up his name. So Cara and Charles. So Cara says, well, I've been in other relationships and the sex is fine and it was easy, but it was like with guys that I just knew wasn't going to work. And I go, well, what's different here? Do you respect him? Yes. Do you trust him? Yes. Do you feel safe with him? Yes. Do you feel safe with yourself? Do you trust yourself? And all of a sudden, her whole being just kind of melted away. This beautiful, radiant being kind of diminished. And I go, what just happened? And she said, it's like the word trust just kind of washed everything away. And she over the course of the session said, I never realized how much of life influences how we go forward. And so it was a place for her to be with and kind of check out, like, what is that edge? And Charles talked a little bit about him too in the same respect. And I know that place, and what's happening is there's a place where you're about to do something which feels like you're jumping off an abyss. You feel like you're alone and nobody's there and nobody understands what you're up to, what you're doing. Nobody understands, and you're alone and you're about to go forward. So this is an ongoing human experience that probably 99.9 of us experience all the time. However, we are always denying, distracting, avoiding, ignoring how we are being when we're being alone, what that feels like. And we just kind of do something else. That's why so many people in marriages get to a certain point of functioning and they don't go any further together. And inevitably, one of the partners will get tired of that and they'll go seeking something else. So that's what happened in my session with Cara and Charles. And then Monday, another client was talking about her relationship with her partner. She's in her 60s, and she's like, I want to go deeper. And I go, well, what's in the way? And she said, I can't ask him those questions. I can't ask him how he, whatever. I'm really afraid. And it's like, do you trust him? Yes, he's a good guy. Okay, what? And it's this place of self-trust. And this place that when you step into that moment of the conversation, mostly, it's just too terrifying. We feel so alone that we just kind of go in the other direction. Now, this shows up for me in my writing. It shows up with me in my podcasts and my painting. I did a painting. I posted it yesterday. It's right there. This place of the aloneness is so scary that it keeps us from doing exactly what we want to do. And I remember when I was doing my first book, Self-Empowerment 101, and I made a commitment to a friend and I said, I'll write this in 4 months. And for some reason, I was so dedicated to getting the commitment fulfilled that I actually did that. But every day as I sat down to write, there were these voices that said, who are you to do this? Who are you to write this book? Who are you to say these things? Who are you to be a important enough, a fancy pants, a big, a big person that, thinks she knows stuff? And those terms, those experiences were so scary. I just wanted to hide under the covers. And it's just me, But in my head, I kept hearing these things. And it was what I call annihilating. It's annihilating to who I am in the expression of me. And so it's something you want to stop. You don't want to do that stuff. But every time I start a painting, like that one right there, every time I start a blog, every time I start one of these lives, I'm terrified. There's a sense of I am alone here in the world and experienced by the world, and I'm alone. And that aloneness can feel shattering, even though it's just a conversation. I'm just having a conversation with you. You'll either stick around or you won't. You'll either share this and say, isn't that great? Or like, this is really boring, like go someplace else. But inside me, I have a response, and I can get triggered, and get triggered enough that I won't do this. So my practice is to keep doing what's scary, because in essence, the evidence is I'm okay. The evidence is I'm safe. I trust myself to be appropriate and be articulate enough to share something that's important to me. And if it's important enough to you, you'll stick around and you'll share it. If it's not important to you, you'll just go do something else, and that makes sense. I can also know the evidence of other people who are doing live videos, and the value of that for them and the value of that for you, the audience. I can also point to people, thousands and thousands of people, who get scared when they're about to write their book and they don't do it. The evidence of this place of fear of failure, fear of a shattering, I call it fear of annihilation, because our sense of ego might be, oh, I'm going to write this book and I'm going to be great and it's going to, bring me millions of dollars. And most of the times it doesn't. It's a possibility, but the important thing is that I'm sharing because it's my expression, the expression of my essential nature. And if I'm afraid of that, then I won't do it. And then the more I don't do what I'm afraid to do but really want to do, then I lose those opportunities to be the expression of my essential person, my essential nature. A friend of mine always comments on my gestures. I speak a lot with my hands, and if I have something in my hand, it's harder for me to talk because my hands are somehow part of the expression of who I am. And it's just natural for me. And if I try to stop that, then it stops and gets in the way of me being me. So coming back to the theme of this is there's so many people in so many ways, and so many of you, I'll say every single one of you, I would guess, that if I ask the question, what stops you from doing what you are wanting to do, that experience of I'm alone in the moment of it occurring, and I am the total responsibility for that moment, that would be what stops you. And I'm going to try to say that again, because I think it's really important, for at least for me, to own that in this moment I'm about to have a conversation with you. I am having a conversation with you. But in this moment, what I say, I am totally responsible for this. That I post this, I'm totally responsible for everything that comes through here. And that level of responsibility, that ownership of my life and my expression of myself, is terrifying, because nobody else in the whole world will have the experience that you're having being you. And that's extraordinary. If you get the power and the extraordinariness of that, then I know it may make it scarier, but it may also say, gosh, every single one of us is having that same fear of me being me in this moment, being authentically transparent me in this moment. And it's terrifying. And so many of us do facades, so many of us pretend, so many of us get busy with our electronics or eating or drinking or something that keeps us distracted and missing the opportunity to have that moment with ourselves that's exquisite and terrifying at the same time. So every time I write a book, every time I start a painting, every time I sit down to write, there's this, oh my God, how is this going to turn out? What's going to happen here? And I'm all alone in that. However, because I always feel guided, I always feel the guidance, I always feel an intuitiveness of whether I'm on track or not. Even in doing these podcasts, I'm listening for or feeling and intuiting, am I done? Am I finished? Should I go this way or that way? I don't have any notes. I've been thinking about this forever, but what comes through me is an intuitive practice, intuitive element of life. I am feeling always guided. I always feel guided. I feel supported by the universe. And it's terrifying to put my faith in something that I can't see. But over time, I've learned that is my truth. That is that. The evidence for me is there that is my truth. And so I live in that truth. And so as terrifying as it is to sit with you for 10 or 15 minutes saying what I say to you about how my week unfolded, what got exposed, then I know that I'm being guided. And if this is a complete flop, so be it. But this is an important part of my practice, is to express everything I'm saying to you. So one other piece of this is that realizing that where I decide or allow other people to influence my decision making, influence what I choose to say, influence the expression of me, that's where I'm giving my power away, per se. If a friend of mine with my painting gave me some thoughts about how to look at it, so finishing up some of the things, and I can use what she said, or I can say, no, I like it the way it is. But the point is that when someone tells us that we should be doing it different, we got to pay attention to which guidance comes from our heart and our absolute knowing, as opposed to saying, well, she's got more experience, I should listen to her, or that book said this, and so I should do that. Or I've always been trained to be this way or think that way, and so I will. But it's like, you have to come to this place of realizing, as scary as it is, that the relationship with you is the most important relationship on the planet. And my dog, Gracie, of course. So that's really important too. All right. I hope this is valuable. If it is, please leave a comment. Let me know that you've watched this. Please feel free to share it with others. And let me know if there's anything else you'd like me to speak about. If you'd like to reach me, you can leave comments or messages, or find me at The Paradigm Shifts if you're interested in some of my books, or in coaching. I work with couples, I work in organizations, I work with individuals, really helping people to empower themselves to pay attention and really be present and respect and trust that you have everything you need. So we just need sometimes a thinking partner to help us work through some of these challenges that keep us from really fulfilling our human spirit. All right, big hugs to you. I'll see you next Friday at Friday Feast on Live on Facebook. Okay, bye-bye.